Hi friends, I'm Paul, and today I want to talk a little bit about bird banding and what bird banding is all about. I am at Knox Farm State Park today, and we are doing some bird banding, but today I want to talk to you first how bird banding is done. So we are doing bird banding basically for scientific research. You need to be licensed to be a bird bander. I am a master bander. I am licensed by both New York State and the federal government. So I have my licenses, two of them, so that I can do this bird banding. You can't just go out and capture birds on your own, and no, you have to be licensed. So what is bird banding? Basically, we are capturing birds in the wild. We capture them in what we call mist nets, which I'll show you in a few minutes here. And we take those birds, we capture them in the net, and then we bring them back to our station. We put a little metal band around their ankle, which you'll see in a few minutes also. And once we have that band around their ankle, each one is individually numbered, so everyone is different. We take measurements. We try to determine age, sex, how the bird is doing, how much fat they have, and then we release them back into the wild. All of this is done with the bird in mind. We are always trying to keep the stress down with the birds. We are being as careful as possible in handling them. We do not want to harm the birds in any way. So the birds are not harmed in any way during this process. A little bit of stress, yes, but we do it so quickly that there's very little stress involved for the birds. There's several different programs that go on. Some is just general banding. I usually do winter banding. I do that right in my backyard, and I capture the birds in the winter just to see how the birds are doing, which birds are overwintering in my area. There's also what we're doing today, which is MAPS banding, monitoring avian productivity and survivorship. So that is more trying to see what birds are in the area, what birds are breeding in the area. So all of this is done under a license, and we are specifically trained to keep the birds stress-free, keep them safe the entire time. So let's talk a little bit about bird banding. I'm going to show you the different steps of it. And I know you're thinking, who would be crazy enough to get up at the sunrise to do this bird banding thing? Well, that's when the birds are most active. They're getting ready for the day before the heat overtakes it. And also, I don't mind because look at the view I get. I get to watch the sunrise in the morning. And there's nobody out here. I did see a jogger on the way in, but there's nobody out here today. And at this hour of the morning, it is absolutely beautiful. And I get to watch this awesome sunrise. So yeah, it's worth it. Okay, so what we have here, friends, is what we call a mist net. I set these up yesterday and made sure that they had all these clips on it. You can see how the whole thing is an opening. It has these clips on it so that it doesn't come unraveled overnight, because we don't want any birds getting caught in it. And we don't want the birds to be in here all night long, so that would not be good for them. So we clipped it up, and now it is sunrise, lovely 5:40 a.m., and we are opening the nets. So there we go. Now we can catch some birds in it today. Now we call these mist nets because they're very thin, and therefore the birds don't see them and they get caught in them for that reason. This is not my usual opening stick. I usually have a much smaller one with a little nail on the end so I can open the nets, but I forgot it this morning. When you're waking up at sunrise, sometimes you forget these things, but Yeah, luckily there was a nice hiking stick left by the main entrance. So this is a mist net. This is open now. So now we just wait for the birds to come in, and we'll check these nets every half hour. So this is the view I get as I walk around and open the nets. What we are doing this session is MAPS, monitoring avian productivity and survivorship. And we have 8 nets set up. We're here at Knox Farm State Park. It's in East Aurora, New York. And we got permission from the state parks to do this. I am a licensed bander. You cannot just go setting nets up and catching birds. And no, you have to be licensed. And I went through a long process of licensing in order to do this. So that's what we're doing today. I also do winter banding, but today it is MAPS banding, monitoring avian productivity and survivorship. Strict protocol for this. So we've got 2 American goldfinch in the net. Both of them are on that side, so we're going to switch sides. And they're not harmed. They didn't see the net. They flew in, dropped down into what we call the trummel. And then we take the bird, thumb on the back. Gotta find the buttocks. So that was the last thing that went into the net, so that's the first thing that has to come out. And then we just work the net over the bird. Now it looks like I'm manhandling this thing, but I'm actually being very gentle. Been doing this for many years. You do have to invert the wings sometimes just to get it out of the net. This guy's in there. Little birds are usually tougher. There we go, and he's loose. And then this is what we call the bander's grip. It's not strangling the bird like it looks. I grab one of our bags, put the bird in the bag, close it up, tie it, because they will sneak out the top. And then we go on to the next one. Okay, so we're back at the banding station. We have 2 goldfinch that we took out of the net. Set this one aside while we band the other one. And I'll have the scale out. So each one is marked with these clips that we have at each net, so we know which net it came out of. Take the bird out of the bag. Once again with the bander's grip, not hurting the bird. There isn't a band on the leg, so we are going to put a band on the leg. This is band size 0. Each bird has a different band size. So we keep all our metal bands packed up nice and tight like this. Take our banding pliers here. The number on the band, I'm just reading the last 3 because we already know the others. 545. And we're writing all this data down. Split the band open. We put it in the pliers. Hold the leg. And we crimp it on. So now as you can see, the band is on the leg. Now we go through taking all the different measurements. So the wing chord is 70. We gotta check the skull. Skull is full. We're looking for how much white is in there. Now I'm going to blow on the underside of the bird. CP3, that's the cloacal protuberance. That means it's a male because it does have one. BP0, brood patch is what we're looking at as the bird bare on the belly. That means it's sitting on eggs. And then I'm looking up around the neck area to see how much fat is there. Fat is a 2, so there's a lot of fat in there. It goes up to 4, which is bulging. And then I'm going to start looking at the feathers. Body molt is 0. Flight feather molt, none. Flight feather wear is a 2. Juvenile plumage is 0. Primary coverts are a B. Primaries are a B, and retrices are a B. So what I'm looking at is the shape of the feather, the color of the feather. All of that is telling me how old the bird is, how old the feathers are, if there's any molt limit in there. These are very dark, they're broad, they're rounded on the end, very truncated on the wing. All of this is telling me that these are older or basic feathers, grew into these feathers. These are the oldest feathers that they're going to get. They will molt them out and get new ones, but that means this bird is an age 6, which means it's after 2nd year by P and S, by plumage and skull. Sex is a male by P and C, so cloacal protuberance, and the colors tell me it's a male. Then I'm going to, so now we're going to put the bird in a stocking here.
Is there a race? Nope, we're bird banding.
And the mass is 12.6. And once all that is done, then we will take this bird and we release them. And we go on to the next bird. Now with this one, I am going to go much quicker so you can see the whole process at regular speed without me describing everything. So bird comes out of the bag. It's not banded, so I need a band. Band number is, everything is done as quickly as possible, 546. And notice that there's little stress on the bird. The longer it's in your hand and in captivity, the more stressful it is. Band is on the leg. Wing cord 66. Skull is a 6. CP, BP both 0. Fat's a 2. Body molt 0. Flight feather molt none. Flight feather wear 2. Juvenile plumage 0. Primary coverts are a B. Primaries are a B. Retrices are also a B. Age is a 6 by P and S. Sex is female by P. Mass is 11.8. And the bird's free to go. So that's all that it takes. So that's the whole process of bird banding. That is how we get all the info on the bird and then we release them unharmed. You saw how quick the second one went, and usually they're all that quick, so we're trying to keep the stress down. All this data is sent to the bird banding lab. My scribe, my lovely wife Bev, is writing all this information down. So it's all written on this paper. It goes into an electronic database and sent off to the bird banding lab.